A lot of people ask me the same question. Yunav, you're an entrepreneur, so how do you maintain spirituality while having such a busy schedule in your life? And honestly, as an entrepreneur, it is pretty difficult to stay aligned when you're surrounded by tech all day. But spirituality is very important for peak performance as it elevates your consciousness, which gives you more energy to level up in your business. So, before we move on any further in the video, here's a little description. This video is not going to be about preaching some kind of specific religion. Whatever I'm going to speak in this video is going to come from pure experience, which I've had more than 4 years of experience in spirituality. So whatever you can think of, like all that breath meditation, silent breath meditation, sound meditation, mantra meditation, energy healing, I've done all sorts of things. And from all those years of experience, I'm going to teach you what I've found to be the most beneficial and the best practice among everything else. And that is also easily applicable in the lifestyle of entrepreneurship. So, of course, if you happen to find something better than this, sure, go ahead for it. But I'm telling you, there is none better than this practice. So let's begin. The first thing is, if you want to maintain spirituality in your life, then have a specific time in your calendar. Block out a specific time in your calendar for spirituality only. A specific time of the day. And preferably, it's best to have the morning time, the first hour of the morning, dedicated to spirituality. And I've done that over here in my calendar. Like I've already marked 5:30 to 7, which is 1.5 hours for meditation. And the kind of meditation I do is the mantra meditation or chanting. And I chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra over there. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I chant that mantra. And you probably have that question in your mind. Why only the Hare Krishna Mahamantra? Why not any other mantras? Like why not chant just Om? Why not just be silent and focus on your breath? Why not just hear the sounds of your surroundings? Why not stay in Padmasana pose and do hand signs, mudras like Dhyana mudra and all of that? Why not? Well, here's the answer for that. You must know what is the purpose of your meditation. Why do you want to meditate in the first place? What is the aim of your meditation? Do you want to just feel good? Or do you want to clear your mind? Do you want to experience astral projection? Do you want to experience spiritual ecstasy and bliss? What's the aim of your meditation? And well, if you just want to do that, like do astral projection and just clear your mind, sure, go ahead for any kind of meditation technique, like sitting in Padmasana pose and just staying silent for half an hour, for 1 hour. That will work. That will settle down your mind and keep you calm and all that stuff. But no, if you're truly ambitious, then you will say, I want to experience all of that while reaching for the highest level of spiritual perfection. That is ambitious. That is why you watch this channel. This channel is not for people who are unambitious and just want to live a normal, average life. No. If you're watching this channel, it is because you are ambitious. You are fully ambitious. You are full of vigor. You're full of curiosity. You want to go for the highest thing. And the highest level of perfection, spiritual perfection, is Krishna. And that can only be achieved by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And in fact, it is recommended for this age specifically. The Hare Krishna Mahamantra is meant for this age of Kali Yuga, specifically. And it's not recommended to be in Padmasana pose and just focus on your breath, do dhyan and all that stuff. No, just chanting, japa, Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That's it. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Namaiva Kevalam. Kalau nasteva, nasteva, nasteva gatiranyatha. In this age of Kali Yuga, only The only way of self-realization and deliverance comes from chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. No other method will do that for you. So, yes, that's why I chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and that's why you should as well. Otherwise, if you're aiming for lower ambition, which is like just to feel good, just to experience astral projection, well, then go for it. But keep this in mind. I've done all of those things, and I guarantee you, if you go for that path to experience astral projection, just clear your mind, one day you have to come to this level where you'll feel like, okay, no, chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is actually the best. So just listen to someone who has experienced all of that and who is saying the best method is to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. I've experienced all of that, astral projection, like passing out of your body and just being in your subtle body, having all of that divine light kind of vision and all of that. I've had all of those experiences, and it's not worth it. It's not the highest level of spiritual perfection. The highest level of spiritual perfection is Krishna. And for that, you must chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Now, of course, not going into much detail over that topic. Otherwise, that will become an entirely different video. So, the next thing you need to do to stay spiritually aligned as an entrepreneur is to keep your work focus on Krishna. Like, do your work with the consciousness of keeping Krishna as the center point. Whatever you do in your work, of course, as an entrepreneur, you work, right? There is no restriction to work. Like, if you follow any other method of spirituality, you will have to just sit there focusing on your breath and all of that to even experience a tinge of spiritual benefit. But when you just change your consciousness, okay, like, I'm going to do work. I'm going to work 10 times as hard than before, but I'm going to do for Krishna. I'm going to do it for Krishna. And whatever money I get from the job I do, from the, not the job, from the business I do, as it's meant for entrepreneurship. So, and whatever money I get from the business I do, I will use it in the service of Krishna. At least 50% of it, 20 to 50% of it. Like, it's pretty easy. You don't have to sit in silence and meditate to become spiritually aligned. You just need to switch your consciousness and just introduce Krishna as the center point. Work 10 times as hard, but do it for Krishna. And you will feel that vigor, you will feel that excitement, you will feel that purpose, that feeling of purpose, that feeling of guidance, divine guidance when you do it for Krishna. And when you just have the consciousness of like, oh, I'm going to work 10 times as hard, but whatever results I get from the work, from my business, I will dedicate it in the service of Krishna. Like, the money you get from the business, use it in the service of Krishna, at least 20 to 50% of it. The rest you can enjoy and have all the fun. Fine. And even like if you're a bodybuilder, if you want to build an aesthetic body, well, do it for Krishna. Whatever work you do throughout your day, do it for Krishna. Make Krishna the center point. How can you make building an aesthetic body dedicated to Krishna? Well, you can see it in the consciousness of like, who does this body belong to? Krishna. Because it is made from the material energy. So it's like this body is a temple because Krishna lives inside of your heart. Ahamatma Gurakesha Sarva Bhutashaya Sthita. Krishna says it in the Bhagavad Gita. I live in the heart of all living entities. So, yes, since Krishna lives inside this body and this body belongs to Krishna, so your consciousness should be like, oh, it is my responsibility to take care of this temple, to take care of this body. It belongs to Krishna. It is a property of Krishna. Krishna stays here inside my heart. So it is my responsibility to keep it healthy, to keep it fit. And that is why you work out. That is why you build an aesthetic body, aesthetic physique, to make it attractive, to make it like healthy, to make it fit, to keep it hygienic. So Do it, whatever you do, you can flip your consciousness and just introduce Krishna as the center point. And that easily just diverts whatever work you do towards spirituality instead of just being done with material consciousness. So you see how easy this is, how applicable this is. You don't need to change the work you do. You don't need to change the business model you do. No, you just need to flip your consciousness a bit, and that's it. And the third thing is like, whatever free time you have in a week, at least one day you probably have a little bit of free time, 2 to 3 hours. Whatever free time you have, associate with the devotees. Association is very powerful. And when you associate with the devotees who are engaged in the devotional service of Krishna, your consciousness becomes purified. Your consciousness gets elevated. You get more energy. It's only beneficial to you, no one else. You learn and grow according to your association. What kind of association you have determines what kind of knowledge you will have. If you're surrounded by rich people, it's only a matter of time that you'll get rich, that you'll develop the kind of mindset that requires to get rich, that you'll develop the kind of wealth that fits in that wealthy people group. So if you associate with the devotees, it's only natural that you will get the benefit of spirituality, that you will be spiritually aligned. So it's for your benefit. Associate with the devotees. And when you make time for that, that keeps you spiritually grounded, because in your consciousness is like, oh, I need to associate. Those are my family, those are my people. And you treat them with such respect. That keeps you grounded, that keeps you charged spiritually. That charges your spiritual battery. So that brings us over to the fourth and final thing of this video, which is also the most important. Take prasadam only as your diet. Now obviously you eat food, isn't it? You might work or you might not work. You might chant, you might not chant. You might associate with the devotees or not. But you surely do eat, isn't it? So just offer whatever you eat before you eat it to Krishna and take it as prasadam. That purifies your consciousness. That keeps you spiritually aligned. Now, I know a lot of you are inclined towards eating meat, and there are some spiritual gurus as well who preach like, oh, you can eat whatever and still be spiritually aligned. I'm telling you, that's complete and utter nonsense. If you want to be spiritually aligned, then you must have a specific level of consciousness. Otherwise, if you're engaged in meat eating, if you're engaged in like eating karmic food, then that pollutes your consciousness. That keeps you stuck in the level of material consciousness, and you don't have the capacity to understand and move forward in spiritual life. Look, like I said in the beginning of the video, I'm not here to convince you to follow my specific thing. Instead, I just want the best for you, and that is why I'm giving you what I know from my spiritual experience to be the best thing, to be the best practice that is the most applicable in your entrepreneurial lifestyle. And when I know that eating food that is full of karma will keep you entangled in material consciousness, well, obviously I'm not going to let you do that. I'm going to say you otherwise. So all these influencers, all these spiritual gurus who say, oh, it's completely fine, you need that, you need to eat meat, you need to eat like killing other animals and all that stuff. That is complete bogus. That is complete nonsense. Why? Because when you eat food that is full of karma, that keeps you attached in material consciousness, which means you cannot ascend to higher levels of consciousness, which allows you to understand the higher transcendental spiritual knowledge. That is why you see all these people who regularly eat meat, who regularly eat karmic food. They do not have the capacity to understand spiritual knowledge, and therefore they say that all of this spiritual knowledge is for the people who are skinny, the people who don't know anything about entrepreneurship, the people who like to live in poverty or something. They keep on hating on that. But really, that's just ignorance, honestly. And if you're confused whether following spirituality will bring you like skinny neck or like skinny body and all of that stuff, well, look at me. Is my body like skinny? Take a look. Is my body skinny? Is my neck skinny? Is my voice like thin and slow and all of that? No. It is deeper than your influencers. It is deeper. This goes to show that all of that you're hearing is complete and utter nonsense, bogus. I eat food that is free of karma. And still I have the aesthetic body. Still I don't have a skinny neck or like a thin voice. So, whatever you hear from your favorite influencers, take the material knowledge, fine, but stick to your spirituality. If you want to be spiritually aligned, stick to the methods that are actually spiritual. And that means eat food that is free of karma. Now, of course, it is not a matter of being a vegetarian or being a carnivore, all of that stuff, being an omnivore. No. I am asking you to be Krishnatarian, which means whatever you eat, first of all, offer it to Krishna. Because you're going to eat either ways, isn't it? So better offer it to Krishna and just like get that food free of karma. In fact, even vegetarian food has karma in it. It's just a matter of like how high the karma is actually. So I'm only asking you to eat the food that is offered to Krishna. And meat cannot be offered to Krishna. Even garlic and onion, tea or coffee, those cannot be offered to Krishna. So what can be offered? Krishna says it in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse 26. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati. Which means anyone who offers with devotion and love a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or just water, I accept it. Krishna says it. And once Krishna accepts what you offer, then the karma in that food is nullified. And then after you eat it in the form of prasadam, you get no karmic reactions from that food. Your consciousness gets elevated. You can live a healthy lifestyle, both mentally, physically, and even spiritually. Very good for business, isn't it? So, even for a spiritual life. As you can see, this is not just some mentally created concept or contemplated philosophy. This is spiritual science, and hardly anyone talks about it on social media. And I want to boldly express it in front of the mass so that they will be aware of the truth, of the highest truth. And of course, I'm not going to teach you like how to offer to Krishna in this video, how to offer to Krishna and how to cook food that can be offered to Krishna. So obviously for that you need to check other videos. There are tons of videos on the internet how to make offerings for Krishna. So you can search it up on YouTube and find your thing. Now obviously if you're concerned about having like a toned physique or an aesthetic physique and whether this prasadam diet can fit your category, well, it obviously will. And I'm the prime example for that. I eat a high protein, high fat, low carb diet, and that is all prasad. And there are varieties you can choose from. For protein, there's like lentils, beans, and paneer. Even fat, like you can use ghee, you can use butter. Tons of things, tons. Lots of variety. So you don't need to worry about that. And in fact, I teach the whole system of getting peak nutrition for performance, that too with non-karmic food, inside my Peak Performance for Entrepreneurs program. So if you're interested, join, links in the description, and I'll see you in the next one. Good luck and never give up. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.